All right, guys. Hello. Tanya Patxot, the Truthpreneur, here where I help you simplify your life and streamline your business. And I have Linda Hopson with me today, and I am super excited so that way you can hear her story. Obviously, the Moments of Truth, if you're just stepping in, the Moments of Truth show is just an inspired show that I've had for over 15 years of business. I've heard phenomenal stories while I've been coaching individuals. And, I'm like, people need to hear these stories. They need to understand that people who are pursuing business, it's not cookie cutter, like a lot of individuals might say it is. Just do this or just do this and you'll grow your fan page. It's never just like that, And so, and the other thing is just just the trials and the things that you go through. Everybody is so different and they go through so many different things. And a lot of individuals will think that they are failures in business, when in all reality, it's a process that they're going through. And when they're going through those times that they feel discouraged, and I'm sure Linda can, vouch for that, in all actuality, honestly, it's like this pat on the back, like, yes, good job, because you are now officially in entrepreneurship, right? You are officially in this place of ups and downs, and the different stages, like I talked about actually earlier this week in a podcast with Rhonda Swan, the Unstoppable Mama. I talked about the four stages and about clarity. And so, you have those moments, that you're going up and down and up and down. And so I just want to encourage you guys with amazing stories. And so Linda has been, she's been so much of a blessing to actually say that she's going to tell her moment of truth. And I want you guys to really honor and respect that, because, individuals go through a lot of different things. And when they actually can go to the point where they can tell publicly their moment of truth, it's a really big moment for them. And a lot of times they're reliving and rehashing sometimes some of the things that they've gone through. And but it's also awesome because she gets to help inspire others. And some things she might even mention that she's going through, even currently. Because this is obviously, a place of safety and truth. So awesome. Definitely want you to, if you're listening to this, just sit back and embrace the truth that is about to come, right?
Are you ready?
I know. Are you ready? Drum roll. So, Linda, first of all, just tell us just a little bit about kind of, what you do. Are you a coach, author, speaker? What exactly, your passion is. And then we're going to get into the juicy stuff. So don't reveal too much.
Okay. Well, as far as like a career, right now I'm an affiliate marketer. And that actually gives me a platform and a way to build my brand as I would call it coach. I humbly like to consider myself as a thought leader or an inspirer, because I've been through so much, and I know that there are women out there that have gone through the same things. And I'm in an age bracket where so many women feel like life is over. And that they're not as pretty as they used to be. They're not as active as they used to be. They're not as sexy as they used to be. And that is really society talking and their own negativity talking in their heads. And so I want to reach out to those people and show them that they have just as much sex appeal, just as much beauty, just as much vibrance as they did when they were in their 20s and 30s. It's just a matter of a mind shift and a self-confidence thing. And, I suffered from low self-confidence for most of my life, really. And things really started to change when I started to grow personally. and, really get into, I kind of dabbled in personal development, decades ago, and then really got into it a few years ago and made it a daily activity. And that's when my self-esteem and my confidence grew. And I really got to understand my potential, my power. And the first thing I wanted to do with that is show other women that, that they have so much in their life to be thankful for, and so much that they can grab that brass ring, even though they're in a certain age group, that the brass ring isn't not available to them just because they're a certain age.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And it's needed, and it just shows you that when individuals want to say, hey, I would love to start a business, or I'd love to start a venture, and they get so discouraged because they think, well, what would my market be, or who would I talk to, or who's really going to care or want to be inspired by certain things that I have. And it's
right.
It's kind of a deceiving thing, obviously. But so you had touched on affiliate marketing, and I just wanted to make sure that I clarify that for our audience, for watching, listening to the replay and that type of thing. And so, essentially affiliate marketing is, it's very powerful. It's great for bloggers. It's great for individuals who are trying to build that, or who are building that brand identity and authoritative identity. And they're kind of stepping into that. And they might not necessarily have a product, but they really, really believe in somebody else's product that's already created, kind of like a done-for-you system. And then they're capable of adding their own flavor to it in the front end of how they want to market that. And so there are different levels of those affiliates. And so I want to encourage you that if you're just starting off, and that might be an option for you, right? So there's the amateur affiliate marketer who is taking exactly the landing page that the company is giving them, and they're driving traffic to that, and that's all they're doing. Okay, that's amateur affiliate marketing. And then you have your pro model, right, which is where you create your own landing page, your own funnel system, your own freebies, right, ebooks, videos, tutorials. And once they get into that, you then are able to then give that affiliate product, right? And then you have your authoritative model, which is where you bring people through a funnel system, which is a landing page and all that great stuff. And then you bring them to your opportunity, meaning your program, your book, your thing, right? So there's different levels. So know that once you hit affiliate marketing, there's the amateur, the pro, and then there is that authoritative, and you're going to go through that process. And I even went through that process, and now I'm more in the authoritative, but I still have, affiliate programs that I absolutely adore, they love, and they're really, really beneficial. I just use them in the back end as necessary, not necessarily driving traffic directly to it. So I just wanted to make sure that I expounded a little bit on that, because there's some of our audience that are just starting off, or they're in that 3 to 5 years, and they're either bridging from offline to online. And so they're not as familiar with affiliate marketing and how to scale up their business. So when you said that, I was like, hey, let me make sure I clarify exactly what that affiliate marketing and those levels are. So so what exactly was your moment of truth? Let's start off with, normally you'll have that moment of truth in life, right? And then kind of step into that business aspect. So in your life, what was that moment of truth for you that you transitioned and said, enough is enough? What were those leading events?
It was kind of there was two major things that happened. Both of them really truly important in my journey along this path. The first thing was that, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I was the kid that wanted the Kool-Aid stand. When I was a teenager, my girlfriend and I, she lived next door to this cute little old man that had a tomato garden, and he couldn't eat the tomatoes fast enough because he was good at what he did. And so he said, hey, if I give you tomatoes, you could sell them and you just keep the money. I don't want the money. I just, but if you're interested in just not just eating them, but selling them. And so we had this little, and she lived on a side street. So we put this big sign on the more major street and had this little table and sold our tomatoes. And I think we did pretty good. I think we made like $10 or something, but it started way back then. And then, kind of got into, go to school, get a good job, get married and all of that. And I just wasn't, I always felt like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. I was a nurse, but I had, back injury. And, when you work on an orthopedic floor with people getting new hips and new knees, back injuries are not good. You're lifting heavy patients and I just, it was sometimes, even now, that was a while ago, even now nurses get too many patients per nurse to really take good care of the patients. And so it was always like rushing around, and I would have nightmares about time management. Like I'd be rushing from room to room, and it was just kind of, not a good thing for me to be in. And so kind of fast forward a few years from that, my husband was making really good money. He was in a high position at a bank, and out of the blue, well, he was on the board that actually voted for buying out another bank in our area. And so of course they brought on their employees, and out of the blue, like 2 weeks after that, he gets a pink slip that, he was making too much money, and, and they have to make room for this other bank's employees. And, and then our almost 6-figure income went down to zilch. And it was a stressful thing for him too. He had stress headaches and all kinds of stuff because he just really strived to do a good job. And it was a position that was very stressful to begin with. And so when that happened, we kind of put our heads together and thought, is this the time? Is the universe or God trying to tell us that maybe we should be our own bosses? And so we decided, actually I did the legwork and the research. We had gone to some trade show. I even forgot what it was all about, but there was a franchise company there called Embroid Me. And it was basically, the premise was a retail store that sold embroidery goods, like grandma blankets and, baby blankets and grandma shirts and Christmas stockings with your name on it and all that kind of stuff. But we also did business to business with logoed apparel and screen printing and all that kind of stuff. And I have a creative mind, so I thought, oh, this is great, creative mind. I have a background in apparel. I grew up in the retail industry and clothing, and so it kind of has to do with that, matching a good shirt with a good logo, so that looks good, and that kind of thing. And 2 years later, had to file bankruptcy to the tune of $500,000. And, we worked our butts off. When you own your own business, it's not quite the same as like affiliate marketing or something where you build residual income.
Yes.
When you buy a business like that, especially brick and mortar business, you own your job. Yes, you don't have a boss, but we had to be there when the store hours were, we and it was a big expense. There was huge equipment involved, and they wanted us to be in a busy plaza, for traffic, just like on the internet, you're looking for eyeballs. And so we were in a plaza with a grocery store. And most of the grocery stores in my town, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, are family owned, regionally owned. And there was a grocery store workers' strike. And they didn't just picket in front of the store, they picketed the entrances into the plaza. And although I don't consider St. Louis being like a big union town, it's an unwritten rule that, if you want to continue doing business, you don't cross picket lines. And so our business went from, it was in its infancy to begin with. So we're like, building. And then all of a sudden, no one would do business with us. And they apologized, but they're like, even if I went to them, I'm like, you're not crossing the picket lines. And they're like, yeah, we are. We're doing business with you. You're inside the picket line. And so we kind of struggled for about 6 months, and it got to the point where Harry Knuckles were knocking on the door wanting, money, and we were living on credit cards, and it just got to the point where we had to close shop and eventually had to file for bankruptcy, like I said, to the tune of $500,000. So these kids that say, I'm so much in debt, I have $10,000 in debt, and I'm like, speak to me when you're in the 500,000 bracket.
Yeah.
That ain't nothing. And so really that didn't it how can I put this? It taught me a lot. It made me stronger, but it didn't break my entrepreneurial spirit. So that was the first kind of big thing that happened to me. And all this time, during this whole time, we had a baby later in life. I was 38 when we had our first child, unfortunately, our only child. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, we're blessed to have him, but we wanted more, but God didn't, see it that way. And talk about scary. I was 7 or 8 months pregnant, sleeping in my recliner because it was uncomfortable to sleep in bed. 3 o'clock in the morning, the doorbell rings, and my husband gets out and he's like, don't answer the door. I'll get it. And it was at a point where we had to choose healthcare or a car payment. And with me being pregnant, we always had to choose healthcare. Right. And so it was the guy to take away our car. Wow. And so I had to see my nice car that I loved be, taxied away. And so that was a scary time in my life, but it didn't really scare me away from being an entrepreneur, because I always felt like life in employee-dom has a ceiling. You can only make so much, you can only work so many hours in the day, and you're really trading time for money. And so after that, I stayed home with my son Andrew for a while, and Bruce got a job, and we kind of just went back into let's figure how we climb out of this hole kind of thing, and then went through some difficult times. And wound up, and I won't mention who or what, but I was at a position, it was a customer service position, it was a full-time job, I loved what I did, I loved my customers, but it was a toxic environment. And I had already started thinking, because it wasn't a very high-paying job, that there was more to life than living paycheck to paycheck. And, I always use that meme out there, life isn't all about pay your bills and then you die. There's more to life than that. And I always wanted to have that expendable income where you can just You know, I drive by even little things like drive by Olive Garden on a Tuesday, and I'm like, who eats out at Olive Garden on a Tuesday? That's like a Saturday night thing, you know? And, you know, that's what was my mindset, you know? And so I always wanted more, but with the toxic environment, it was very cliquey. And I had low self-esteem at the time, you know, kind of grew up with a overbearing mom that was hypercritical, was bullied in high school, was bullied in other jobs. And so really had been knocked down in life. And so I had some self-esteem issues at that time, and I was really being bullied at that position. And it came and then I was dabbling in the affiliate marketing realm and really seeing the possibilities of, if I can get this to an income where I can stay at home, you know, I don't have to deal with this anymore. And so wound up leaving that position and staying home. We had to tighten the belt a little bit because we kind of went, you know, we didn't quite go to matching my income. It was more of, let's save my health, because I had been, since being bullied, I had been diagnosed with clinical depression. I had extreme high blood pressure where the doctor said, you get on medicine right now or you're going to stroke out anytime. And, you know, I was just having anxiety attacks, and all this stuff was affecting my health. So it was more like, let's tighten our belt and learn to live off what my husband makes while I build this business and be away from that environment. And so that was my real moment of truth, that catapulted me into, you know, this affiliate marketing, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, where you can work wherever you are and create a residual income, was how I saw my life going forward. And it wasn't until I really built my, you know, with personal development, and my confidence and my self-esteem started, and getting away from that toxic environment, I was starting to see how horrible that life was. And then my mission was, I want to reach out to women who are maybe not as in a toxic environment as I was in, but they have some form of it. You know, they have an overbearing boss, or they're going to a job that they just are okay with because of the income, and you know, they don't have the time with their family and their kids and their husband and all of that. And I want to show them, not only is there a better life out there, but there's a better you out there. And the better you is going to get you to that better life. And so my mission is to give them a voice, because a lot of the people that I talk to have some sort of thing that they've had to, some, you know, issue that they have had to work through or suffer through. You know, whether it's a medical issue, or death of a child, or illness of a child, or something like, you know, a job that, you know, you just hate to get up to go to. Whatever that is, they have a voice and they can help people. And so I wanted to help those women know that they have a voice, that they are important, they matter, and that they are much more than they feel like they are at this moment. And so that's kind of like my mission in life. And it really helps with the affiliate marketing to build my brand, to get my name out there so that I can be seen by those people.
Okay.
And know that I'm out there.
Awesome. Awesome. I know we have, I definitely had gotten a couple, you know, questions that we could, you know, in wrapping up, you know, answer. And if anybody
Sure.
has any questions or anything like that, you can, in the chat, you can actually hit /Q and ask your question. And that will allow for her to, you know, answer any questions that you may have. and just making sure that, like I said, we have different, different people at different levels and different areas. So when it comes to affiliate marketing, you don't have to be in network marketing. And just to make that
No.
perfectly clear,
Right.
Network marketing is something where, yes, you can be an affiliate of a program or a product where you're selling that product and getting a commission back for it, but you're also building a team and you're doing a lot more with that network marketing. Affiliate, you can easily take, let's just say I have a program coming out and you want to share it with your audience because you think it's going to be a great program for them. You can do that. No team, no nothing, just kind of get, your credit for doing that. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that as well.
Yeah. Team building is not for everybody, and that is very correct in that you can just be a salesman or a promoter of a product and not have to build a team.
Yes, yes. So let me ask you, encouraging others that even might be entrepreneurs or, business owners, things like that, that even might have a job. It's not necessary that you have to quit your job at all. Sometimes I've seen entrepreneurs or business owners, they actually, they're doing it just to kind of keep a revenue. But the great part about it is, like, my husband and I did that. So my husband still waited and he did his thing and he managed. But then all of a sudden we had started building up an income. And then all of a sudden, guess what? They let him go off of too much grease and a customer complained, and then they had corporate there. So they had to make him, his shirt was a little bit off color from what it was, and his jeans were whitewashed instead of the dark jeans. And so they let him go because corporate had been there. So they had to make that example of him. But the funny part was when that ended up happening, because that was just extra income kind of coming through. And I was able to say, well, don't go back to work. And he's been fully, retire from that and been able to then, help me full time within the business and do his thing. So I want to encourage you guys out there at all stages. There's a method to the madness. This is just Linda's truth, right? And so I love how you talked about. I had like 3 questions for you. I wanted to make sure I got to you.
Sure.
So the first one is, I like how it didn't crush your entrepreneur spirit when you went through all these things, right? And a lot of individuals will go through things and it does crush their spirit. And then they go and they're like, well, there's no way out, right? So let me ask you this. When you, did your depression really start when you actually felt entrepreneurship? You felt that love, that out there, that whether hard or not, but you felt that, and then you had to go back to that work environment and then added on were the people? Or do you think that if you had, the people were nicer, do you think that you still would have been able to embrace it a little bit longer while you were building?
I think that, well, first of all, I got out of the job because of my health. If it hadn't been for that, and I didn't, if the people were nicer, I would have continued with the job and continued to build my income until I kind of got to the point where this is dumb. Why am I going to work when I'm making this, all this money at home? And I think about that a lot. Did the depression come because of the bullying, or did it just exacerbate it enough for me to notice? I mean, who knows? I could have been depressed for many years, because when I got on medicine, especially when I first got on it, I was like, is this how life is supposed to be like? This is awesome, and I just kept thinking about when I was growing up, and I wondered, did I really have some mild depression all along, and it was really this that called it out? All I know is that, and hopefully the audience doesn't put a label on, people who have depression. There are so many people who suffer from depression and that kind of thing. And it wasn't like it was detectable where I was moping around. Yes, I was, there were times when I was crying because, of the abuse I was taking. But it wasn't like people were like, what is up with you? You're just like a rag, a limp rag. And so it's actually a friend who ironically unfriended me because she didn't believe in what I was doing on Facebook, but she noticed that I wasn't the same. And she said, I really think you should talk to your doctor about it. And that's when it was discovered that I had depression. And so it didn't get any worse, it fixed the problem before it got into, where it was really affecting a lot of things. And I'm happy for it. So could I be off the medicine now? Maybe, but I don't necessarily want to risk that. So, and I don't have any side effects with it. So I stay on my happy pills and, keep going.
Awesome. Well, I know that it's very different to go from offline to online. I know that when I started my journey, just being in a storefront, that's really what got me, right? I did photography and my neck was hurting, my back was hurting. I was on my feet for 14, 16 hours at a wedding, and then, then turned around and, had to do even more to edit and things like that. And so, I just was curious, what was the transition, one, from going offline to now going more predominantly online? And two, did it actually hurt your creativity? Because you and I are very similar. We're very creative people. And so a lot of individuals feel that I know that there's a fear of going online because of their creativity will be squelched or something like that. So I guess those are my two questions for you.
Okay.
Like to go from offline to online, and then online squelch your creativity.
Okay. Online is there are similarities and dissimilarities. I was about to say it's a completely different animal, and it is, but at the base of everything, when you're in business, you're in the people business. It's all about building relationships. It's all about connecting with people, and getting online, even though you're at home and you're not, maybe on the phone 18 hours a day with people. Some people still are. They like being on the phone and they choose to do that. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. But, if you don't want to be on the phone, you don't have to be on the phone 18 hours a day. But you still have to reach out to your prospects and to your anybody who has a question. If you are building a team, you have to have communication with your team members and that kind of thing. So at the very base of both, they are very similar in that it's a people business. With it being online, there are things that work online that don't necessarily work offline, and vice versa. Some things work better. If you're used to, say, doing home parties, which is still not it's not what I do, but it's kind of in that general industry of, marketing, online marketing and offline marketing kind of thing, and working from home, the home-based business kind of genre. So say you have a business where you are doing home parties. You can only be at so many houses per, one per night, or even if you do like an afternoon and an evening one or something like that, you can only do so many home demonstrations yourself. With online, you can change that and tweak that and do a hangout and still do a demonstration. There isn't that touchy-feely where they get to, maybe touch the merchandise or taste it or whatever the case may be, but you can still do a demonstration and get sales through and have a huger audience because you're doing a hangout and marketing that hangout online, and speak to hundreds of people instead of maybe 10 or 15 people in a house doing a home demonstration. And so really, if you are going from an offline business to an online business, you can, with creativity, figure out, that worked for me offline. Can I get it to work for me online? and really get creative as to how you can do that online. And
So is that
and I had been in a home and demonstration company way back in the day, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted.
I mean, is that what you did? Did you take some of your online creativity
Yeah,
and just
yes. I'm comfortable in front of a video camera. I don't know why. I tend to be shy, but I'm comfortable in front of the camera doing shows like this and doing videos that I put on my timeline. And so I chose video. And so that doesn't really work offline, but it fits my personality. So really what you need to do is figure out what works for you and then figure out how you can do it online. And as far as creativity is concerned, I find an outlet for my creativity several ways. First of all, well, at home, for my own personal sanity, I have adult coloring books. So when I want to take a few minutes out of my day to just have me time, I get out. Yep. I have that one.
You know what's so awesome? I'm actually coming out with my book. It's called Simplify Your Life and Streamline Your Business. And the one thing that I really enjoyed was kind of sitting off, and literally you can see it was right there. And I have my crayon, and I'll say, okay, I need a minute to just think. So I shut everything off and I color. And so I found somebody. I'm like, God, I really want somebody to do this. And she customizes these graphics. And she did it.
Awesome.
So I gave her the chapters of all of my book. I gave her all the chapters and a quote to go with it. And she really customized off of what she was inspired by, what she saw, flowers, whatever she saw. And literally customized those little things for each one in my book. So I'm so excited.
That's awesome. So you're incorporating that into your book. So that's fantastic. And it's true.
Yeah, when people get that, they're going to be able to actually.
Right. Yeah, that is fantastic. And stuff like that, even if you're not like artistic, everybody colored when they were little, or even like doodling on a piece of paper, it really releases something in your mind where you can come up with ideas that you normally can't when you're trying to concentrate on the answer. Sometimes you just have to let it go and say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to ask the universe or God to give me some ideas while I'm creating, a beautiful piece of, coloring book thing.
You hit a different aspect of your brain, your spirit brain. And
so it uses that part, so your other part can kind of be in the background, figuring out things that were maybe hints that you didn't get while you were trying to concentrate on it. And because sometimes they always say, sometimes the answer is right in front of your face, and sometimes it is, and you just don't see it. Now, as far as my business is concerned, I love creating graphics that have quotes on it and things like that, and put it on Instagram or put it on my Facebook wall. And so I get creative that way. And the other thing is, and I was just being goofy, but when I did it, I got such wonderful feedback from people that they actually request me to continue doing it. And that is, I love Sean Hayes, who played Just Jack, and so he does lip syncing videos with his husband. And I just loved him because he's got all the actor, the expressions down when he's, lip syncing.
I think I've seen that before.
Yes, and I loved it. So I said, I'm going to do that just for fun. And I put it, and I'm like, should I put it on Facebook? Because I recorded it, and then should I put it on Facebook? And I did, and people were like, this is awesome. And so now I get requests for people to, hey, you haven't done a lip sync video in a while. And my point is, first of all, that's a creative outlet for me.
Yes.
Second of all, it's fun. And as building my brand, I'm being myself. You never want to, Tanya said at the very beginning, cookie cutter. Even if there's a business out there that is cookie cutter, you never want to be that. You are not your business, or you're not, if you represent a company, either as an affiliate or as a team builder, you never want to have the company in front of you. You want to be in front of the company. It's you that you're selling. And so you need to be yourself so that people are attracted to you, get to know, like, and trust you. And then they're going to be more likely to trust what you have to offer them. And so really that is part of my brand, is lip syncing. I also love to wear fedoras. So in a lot of, events that I have and shows that I do, I wear a fedora. I just have always loved hats, and especially fedoras. I don't know if it's because my dad, was in his heyday in the 40s, and, I love my dad and he's a hat wearer too, or what, but I just always love hats. In fact, I've kind of toyed with wearing one today, but, and that's actually how the Princess Mafia came about, which I do want to quickly mention. I started a group of other entrepreneurs, two ladies who are friends of mine who are also affiliate marketers. And we became fast friends. And it all started where we were at an event together, rooming together, and I snore. And so my one friend who was sharing the bed with me when we were waking up, smacked me in the back of the head and said, "You snore, you princess." And so then she started calling me princess. Well, then I wore a fedora the next day, and she said, "Oh, you look so Mafia. I love the Mafia." And I said, "Yeah, the Princess Mafia." And then we found out that the three of us love Mafia stuff. We love Mafia quotes. We love Mafia movies. We love the history of the Mafia. And so I came up with this idea that, the Mafia is really, take away the bad stuff. In the core of it, it's all about being loyal to your family and having good business practices. Yes, it may be an illegal business, and if you go against the family, you get whacked. But really, it's about good business practices, and it's about being loyal to your family. And so we started the Princess Mafia, and we have a fan page that you can go to. It has Mafia quotes, it has blog posts in there, and it's all about lifting women up. We're all in about the same age group, so it's all about lifting women up that are, say, 40 plus, and showing them that they're still sexy, they're still smart, they're still beautiful, they still have vibrancy, and can reach for that brass ring and be whatever they want to be, even though it's, kind of past what society says is their prime of life.
Right.
And so it's we teach personal development, some basic business success tips, that are generalized, can be used for any business, as well as, success mindset, because we all got to where we are from personal development and changing our mindset. And so that's where my creativity has really built my brand, and so I have a great outlet, I think. You can let the internet make you a cookie cutter, or you can break out from that mold and be yourself, and really dive into that creativity part of yourself. And that's how you're going to stand out, is really stand out from everybody else who is the same. Don't be a sheep.
Right. So, well, love it. Thank you so much for being here on the show, and, telling us a lot of the intricacies and the behind the scenes and the private things that, that you you have overcome, and that you are in the process of overcoming. Those are always, it's always very inspiring. I think a lot of times, I know a lot of times we hear so much about the victorious moments in business owners, and we hear so many, "Oh, I'm 6-7 figures now," or "I'm this," or "I'm that," and individuals don't really get to see the process or hear some of the stories, and even hear the realities of what really happens. And so, like I said in the beginning, they go through issues, and they get down on themselves, not realizing that it is normal and it's a part of the process, and all you got to do is keep on going. You know,
I would like to add just I was watching and I forgot who it was. I apologize to whoever said this, but I was watching a video from another thought leader, and he said, think of it as a stage presentation, either a play or a musical or a speaking event or whatever. In the front, everything is going swell. The audience is loving it. Behind the curtain is chaos. People are running around trying to get stuff done for the next speaker or the next, act in the play,
yeah.
or, that kind of thing. Well, that's what entrepreneurial stuff is. Your presence online is, hey, this is awesome. But in the background is chaos. You still got kids, you still got husband, you still got to figure out how to reach your audience and, how to get eyeballs to your site and all of that. And it's just part of the process.
Yep.
And if you keep going, you're going to have those successes of, hey, I just made my first 6 figures.
Yeah, and it's very rewarding. But just know that even when you get to those 6 figures, there is still a lot more going on.
There's still chaos in the background. Yeah,
absolutely. My husband and I, just because we hit, those great $15,000-$20,000 months, we still had a lot of things going on and new hurdles and new things to jump over. We had to then hire a tax accountant, and now we have, I have 2 virtual assistants, and so it just becomes like, a growing thing to be able to leverage. So I just want to encourage you guys to keep going and pursuing. Awesome. Like I always say, follow your passion. It is the pathway to your destiny. And so
yes.
Thank you, Linda Hopson, for coming on. You can find her at Mafia right on Facebook. Just reach out to her. I'm sure you could just message her and contact her and all that good stuff. And definitely appreciate you coming on the show. And,
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to stop record right now. Have a good one, guys.